It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey guys, welcome back, and whoo, do we have a lot going on. All right, guys, so obviously we're back tonight to recap not only Real Housewives of Salt Lake City episode, I believe it's 18 at this point, which is nuts because I feel like this whole season flew by, even though episodes 1 through 10 weren't the most interesting. We do have exciting news tomorrow. We will be back at 12 p.m. Eastern to celebrate 100K. We did it, guys. I love you. We're coming back with Dana Wilkie, Zach Peter, Jason from Down with Jason, DJ Richie Sky, and of course, Emily D. Baker. This is going to be amazing. So with that, this is a subs-only live chat. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Get subscribed. I can't even talk. And don't forget to smash that like button. Let's welcome Jason. Jason's going to be like, why can't you talk, friend? 123 in the room. Hey.
Hey, there we go. Happy Sunday night. I know it's late and we went on a bit later because I think we wanted to see kind of what was going to be said on Watch What Happens Live tonight.
And we were mentioned. Well, kind of.
Well,
no,
kind of.
It wasn't.
It didn't say.
Okay, this is okay. Can I complain real quick?
By all means, it's your channel.
Right. So, guys, by the way, almost 150 in the room. I get so annoyed. Like, if you're going to reference the interview, which I love Andy Cohen, I love Bravo, but if you're going to reference the whole interview and it's going to be a topic of conversation or even make you do a video or question it, why not mention it and mention where it came from, right?
Yes. I mean, listen, even Wendy Williams did that with Fallon, the Fallon interview.
Thank you.
Just saying.
Okay. All right. So with tonight's episode, there was a lot of drama. We saw Meredith. We saw Accusations. We see Lisa Barlow at the end for the preview for next episode kind of coming out with some wild accusations. We see Heather and Whitney still stirring the pot. Mary Cosby, I'm falling more in love with on the show. And Jenny Nguyen, of course, all eyes were on her. If you could rate this episode a 1 to 10, and guys, everyone in the live chat do the same, what would you rate it?
I'm going to have to say a 9. And the only reason I'm giving it a 9 is because I felt like the entire episode, I was just on this crazy roller coaster. We went from here to here to here to here to here. I mean, Meredith stepped inside that house and back outside to the table with the ladies maybe like 4 times.
She did step right back outside.
And we had so much conflict and resolution in this short span of the episode, which honestly, this is why I really like the Real Housewives of Miami, because we get the conflict and the resolute like at the same time. We got so much of it. Like before every commercial break, I'm like, what just happened here? It was insane.
And to be fair, I have to say it kind of went from this, which we know that, Meredith is like laughing through the window when Jen said that she's never done anything to her or her family. And she's like, and Jen is saying, well, why don't you talk about your 10 boyfriends? So it goes from that to it gets a little bit more heated. And then finally, at the end of this whole conversation, while Heather is narrating, which I thought was pretty interesting because for Heather to be narrating, I don't know if you remember, but on Vanderpump Rules, they used to let Stassi narrate, and it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Let whoever they choose to narrate, it is sort of a big situation. But this whole thing ends up coming back to Jenny because Jen asked why Jenny told her that Meredith hired a private investigator in the first place. So they go from that to this, and all of a sudden you see Jenny and she's like, wait, what the just happened? And I was watching the whole thing it felt like, I'm not going to lie, and guys in the live chat, please sound off because I was all over the place here. It felt like a ping pong match. I'm like,
you didn't know really what to look at. I'm kind of glad they let Heather do the narrating, though, and the kind of guide, because she's really good at that. She's really good at giving kind of a different perspective because she's always off to the side. We always see Whitney and Heather, like, especially at that dinner table, tipsy as hell.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Kind of sitting back and enjoying and not only reveling in what was going on, but also observing. So I thought it was a good choice for Heather to kind of guide this conversation.
Well, what did you think when Whitney chased down Meredith? First of all, there were a lot of accusations that came out, and honestly, the way Meredith handled it, the whole thing was kind of beyond to me. And I wouldn't be able to, I don't even know how I would feel being in Meredith's position with like the rest of the women being like, well, Meredith, you didn't come on the van. So since you didn't come on the van, we were all kind of wondering, are you the person who called the FBI? And I'm like,
That's to me like saying, Meredith, you weren't on the van, so I'm really not sure Brooks Marks is actually your son.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, what?
I was happy to see that Jen cleared that up and said, you know, I didn't think you were the person who went to the feds, but I feel like people were telling me that. But that wasn't the only bomb that was dropped here. It went from that, which Meredith kind of brushed off like, this is a years-long investigation. I didn't have anything to do with it. This is, you guys are now at this point reaching. And then Whitney chases after Meredith and lets her know, hold on, listen, well, there was a rumor, okay, that Meredith and Jen, when Meredith and Seth were not in a, you know, like happy in their marriage, that Meredith was talking to some other guy that eventually ended up hooking up also with Jen. And I was like, this is, honestly, this is beyond and crazy. And I don't believe this rumor. Lisa Barlow, who went on the show tonight and obviously showed that her and Meredith are not in the closest place anymore, also said that she didn't believe this rumor. What do you think?
I think there are a lot of words being thrown out in Salt Lake City. Lots of accusations, lots of rumors. And I don't know if they're just doing it like the ladies are doing it to create a different dynamic or be more exciting, but they are a little over the top. Like, you really got to back up what you say, especially when you say that this person was cheating with that person and all kinds of, you know, you really have to back that stuff up.
I mean,
you know, the biggest
dating 10 other guys and then also like that really is a huge accusation.
Yeah. Well, it's also a huge accusation to say, were you really at your father's memorial? And I just felt like things were flying off the hook. I don't know if I probably would have handled it exactly like Meredith, actually, because I am a reactor like that. So I think I would have handled it that way.
Okay, fair. Now, I want to ask you, what did you think? Well, before I do, Laura Hartman, this episode was kind of frustrating. Why does Whitney not get that it wasn't Meredith who called the FBI? Also, will you be taking live callers? Guys, we have almost 300 people in the room in less than 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, if we get through this fast enough, then we'll definitely take live callers. If not, it is 10:30 and we have long mornings tomorrow. Mondays are nuts, but we have a lot.
Listen, I got in last night at 1 a.m. from Cape Cod, and which was
some people
awesome.
know I was on a live.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm so awake right now, so we can talk about Salt Lake City.
Okay. So now Lisa ends up talking while still at the table with Jen, and she ends up telling Jen, you know, I was trying to be there for Meredith. I was trying to be there for you. I feel like pretty much at the end of the day, she kind of feels like she's caught between a rock and a hard place. But then Jen actually asked her, you know, was Meredith there for you? Has she been there for you the same way that you're trying to vouch and be there for her? Has she been there for you 100%? And Lisa's kind of talking in circles, and Jen's like, no. Has she been there for you? Yes or no? And I was like, oh, this was painful. The whole thing was painful. But I was happy to see the resolution at the end of the night, because we all know Housewives is conflict resolution. And when we get the conflict, I cringe. When we get the resolution, I feel better.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's all Salt Lake has been. Salt Lake, the entire season has been like that. It's so been up and down. And there's so much going on off the show while this is happening that this is the craziest franchise I think we've had almost ever.
I mean, it's nuts, obviously, but it's not. I'm definitely worried. And as people kind of like continue to come in the room, I can't believe we're still less than 10 minutes into this recap. But as people continue to come into the room, I'm curious to see what season 13 will look like, because we know that Lisa, did I just say 13?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Beverly Hills. Season 3 will look like, because I'm thinking about what Lisa Barlow said on social media, saying that everything with Jenny would be addressed on Sunday, which she was asked about it, but things weren't necessarily addressed, not letting us know, where does Bravo stand? Where does Andy Cohen stand? Where does production stand? Will they keep her around? Will they keep her around long enough to tell her side of the story and then can her? And if like she's out and Mary's out, who does that leave? Whitney, Heather, Meredith, Lisa, and Jen. Jen no one knows what's going on with her. Like, will she be back for another season after season 3, or will she end up, not coming back? We don't know what's happening right now. So I feel like I'm kind of in limbo with this franchise. While they're still giving us a great season 2, there's a lot in the air.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's all, I mean, come on, because when did all of this come out? It was after they already filmed the reunion. So I don't know, are we going to get any kind of, conclusion to a lot of things? Are they actually going to express and say how they felt? I think what Lisa was referring to on her part, saying that she's going to mention it'll all be talked about, was her reaction to it, and that's kind of what we got tonight. But we still haven't seen anything from Bravo or Andy at this point.
Well, what did you think when Meredith was like calling everybody out and she was saying, who here is alleging, and this was 2 times in this episode, she said, who is alleging that I called the FBI? And nobody is saying anything. And then the next morning, and we'll get there in a second, but she also said, who is alleging that I made up my father's memorial in order to not have to go onto the bus, in order, like, for this whole storyline kind of situation? Who's alleging this? And nobody spoke up, which I thought was kind of interesting. But we did get a moment where Meredith was on the phone with Brooks, and Brooks is kind of talking to her like, okay, what's going on? And this Mother's Day trip is like going to hell. I was cringing a little bit when Jen walked out of her room and she could hear Brooks on the phone on speaker. And I'm like, please don't say something you don't mean, or maybe you do mean it, but this would be so incredibly uncomfortable. Thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it gave them space to make amends, kind of.
Yeah. Sorry. So I'm trying to think about the scene. The thing is it's so hard to know where you stand with anyone on this show and who you really want to stand behind in this show. Because when you see Jen yelling at everyone, you're like, gosh, you're too much. You're almost borderline annoying at this point. But then when you see her with Meredith and she's like a different Jen, it's like, why do I kind of like you? And why we haven't seen these sides of these women? There are so many layers to them. I mean, even this, it's just crazy that we go from 0 to 100, 100 to 50, 50 to, like every episode.
Do you think when Jen went into the room in Meredith's room and she asked her, like she said, can we talk? And they started talking, and Meredith was like, it's absurd that they're all kind of blaming me for this FBI and saying that I was the one who called the feds. This is like nuts. And she said, well, did you know it was going to happen that day? Do you think Jen truly even had that question in her mind? Or do you feel like, no, but she still asked it because it serves for the storyline for the viewers to kind of cap that off? Like,
I think you hit the
nail enough to know what she's doing?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I really think that it was for the narrative. I mean, come on. Jen knew something was going on before. This is a 9-year investigation or something?
That's what they said on the show. We don't know that, but yes.
Yeah, but allegedly this is an investigation that's going on for a long time. No, the FBI does not need Meredith Marks' help. I mean, that's just very simple and clear,
Right.
And I don't think there's a hotline to call the FBI and be like, hey, this person's here right now in front of Beauty Lab, so if you were going to do your thing, now's the chance. And so I don't think that a housewife would be very helpful in an investigation with the FBI.
Okay. And Dub, thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, I see you, Laura and Krista, in the backstage. I always want to say call log. I'm so old in a 28-year-old's body. Okay. Now, I do want to kind of continue on really quick, because getting back to Meredith, we pan over to the next morning, and apparently shit went down. Lisa went to Meredith's room that night and she tried talking to her, but letting her know that the girls were having conversations on the bus about why Meredith might not have potentially been on the bus, which would have been faking her father's memorial. Now you can see where there's growing hostility. Everyone's pissed. She's screaming at everyone, Meredith. And honestly, I don't blame her here. I'm like, if you're going to talk about my family, you're going to get the same reaction. And I know what people are going to say in the comments and live chat. Well, Adam, it's because you met up with Meredith. That's not the case. That's not why I'm defending it. I'm legitimate, like, don't with my family. And I can see where she's saying the same thing. She's like, you guys have already had my son as a storyline with Jen and this whole Twitter shit. And now you're bringing up my father, who I just had to go bury, and you're bringing him up as a part of a storyline. No, I'm not having this. I'm leaving. F this. I'm done. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts too is they come a lot for Meredith's family, whether it's, and I do understand, I'm not just saying this because you met up with Meredith too. She didn't meet up with me, so I don't really have to say anything. Just kidding. No, that because I've called her out for her, like someone just said in the chat, for her shoulder pads many times, which work on her, by the way. I think they're coming after her family a lot, but at the same time, I'm understanding where Meredith is coming from. I would not want to be on a bus where my relationship with Whitney is not that great, with Lisa is not that great, with Jen, who you despise. It's just I don't. I would choose to skip on that too. Now, when it comes to like a memorial service, or that is a big accusation, and
Right.
I mean, especially like we've all lost people, and that's not something that you should assume that she would do just to skip out on the bus ride, is lie about when she had to be at her memorial. But I think that there are, I don't know, huh?
I said that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'm talking in circles, but do you get what I'm saying?
No, definitely. But I do have another question for you, because when Meredith and Lisa Barlow, by the way, guys, 350 in the room, smash that like button, less than 20 minutes in. When Meredith and Lisa are trying to have this conversation, and Lisa said, "Can you please give us a second?" Mary walks in trying to bring an omelet to Meredith, and she takes her sweet time exiting, which I thought was kind of funny, quirky. It's Mary. I'm getting to like her more and more now, knowing that she's not on the show. It's like you don't know what you have until it's gone, and I'm already missing her. But when we went downstairs to where all of the women were making breakfast, and Jenny asked Heather and Whitney, "What is going on? Like, what's with all the screaming?" They start explaining that Meredith was upset and that her and Lisa are having a conversation. And once Jenny starts talking, Mary ends up disengaging. She gets up and says, "I can't do this. I have to walk away. I can't listen to this." And Heather was giving her shit, saying, "What do you mean, Mary, you can't do this and walk away? She's a part of our friend group." And she's like, "You can't do that. We won't accept this." And she's like, "You will accept this." What were your thoughts? And guys in the live chat, please.
Wait, on what just Mary said, or are we talking about when Mary was up with
her total reaction all morning, from Lisa to Meredith to disengaging when it came to Jenny speaking anything? What were your thoughts?
I never know what's going through Mary Cosby's head, and I think that's always like leaving me wanting more of her, because I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know where she's going with what she's saying. But I think she just didn't want to be part of the conversation that involved Meredith, because she feels like Meredith has had her back. They've been becoming friends. So,
right.
But Mary can't take social cues very well. Like, even when she was upstairs with Lisa and Meredith, and Lisa's like, "Can you just give us a minute?" And she took her time with the eggs and walking out. And then she started to walk out and she stopped. Right. And then she continued. And I was like, you can't write this shit. Like this, no, you can't make this stuff. And one really quick other thing, I think Mary Cosby looks the best in a Brooks Marks sweat outfit. I think she has looked. I think she's the best looking one in there. In that outfit, because I don't like a lot of people in those outfits.
Listen, as you know, Mary Cosby, big fan over here. Even went and I got to visit the church. Okay. So I had to bring that photo up. But, when it comes to Mary and everything, that she brings to the show, obviously there are a lot of people who don't like some of the comments that she's made because they're outlandish, and you can't say this shit, right? You really absolutely can't. You shouldn't. It shouldn't even be a part of like what comes out of your mouth. But she did, and she has apologized for them. I don't know how Bravo would react to that, or how they would have even treated her at the reunion for that. But as far as we know, Mary is not coming back to the show. But now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about what she offers to the show, aside from having like, the nonsense come out, that the shit that she says. Like, if Bravo and the network and her cast members can forgive her and bring her back to the show, is she someone that everyone wants back, that they'll miss, or do they want her to leave?
Listen,
that's like a big question I have.
I think if you're not going to bring Mary back, she wasn't fired. We know that. And she also said in her Twitter Spaces thing that she did not necessarily quit. Right. They're talking things out, and I don't know if that's still true. Either if they don't bring Mary back and then we lose Jen, we need to start bringing in ladies like right and left. And this needs to become Real Housewives Salt Lake City Game of Thrones edition. You never know who's going to make it through. You could end halfway through, or you could end halfway through the season. You could start halfway through the season. I think it has to become like that, because Salt Lake has set us up for so many roller coaster rides. You know, like we go up and down during this, and they have to continue that. I mean, like without Mary, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Look at this cast real quick, guys. 400 in the room. Smash that like button. Show some love. Think about this cast right now, Jason. Like, say we take out Jen Shah, okay? Because we don't know what's going to happen after her court date. You know, right now she's saying that she's not guilty. She's saying she's innocent. So if that's the case, then I'm sure it'll play out the way that she hopes, right? Or if not, then it'll be the other way around. But as of right now, we don't know. We're in limbo with Jen Shah. Mary Cosby, from what we know, will not be returning. And Nguyen, her fate on the show is completely questionable because people are now boycotting the franchise. So with that, we have left Heather Gay, Meredith Marks, Lisa Barlow, and Whitney Rose. I mean, that's obviously, and I'm nothing against these ladies. I think that they're all phenomenal, but I think we just saw this with Real Housewives of New York last season. We can't run a show on 4 or 5 women at all. Like it does not.
Listen, work. And you've had, and we ran the show referring to New York with women who had been on New York for a very long time. Right. Even in that condensed cast, it didn't work. This can't work either, because in Salt Lake City, I feel like you have the minor focus and you have the major focus. The major focus has been Jen Shah, has been suddenly Mary Cosby mid-season. When you lose that, the minor focus, I don't know how they're going to step up. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know who you can replace these ladies with, because they've been there since the beginning.
Well, and
I don't know.
That's the thing, is like, I don't know either. And I think it's going to be interesting. I feel like they're definitely going to have to test as many people as possible this new season, but they've already started filming the season. So if they're testing people, they already would have to have at least 2 or 3 women in mind. They would have to be strong, independent women who can like come into the group and still have the conflict resolution, pretend like the cameras have been there their whole entire lives, and come in almost like, and I know people aren't fond of her right now. Really, she's getting a lot of shit, but almost like a Noella. Like, she came in and she's just like, I'm here. It doesn't matter. You don't want me to be here. I don't care. I am still full-time, like it or love it, whatever. I don't give a I'm here. And that's what we need for the show.
Now, okay, so a lot of people, and I know this is not something I would want, we're speculating and saying, oh, well, Lala Kent would leave Vanderpump Rules and come join. But it's almost like you need that energy to come in. Someone who already knows how the camera works, someone who's not afraid of conflict, other ladies, who does it. So we need that type of character to come in if we're losing all of these women, which we still don't know. So right. I'm not really sure. I do have to say that Salt Lake City has been taking us on a journey off the show, like I said earlier, and a journey on the show. And it's just like, you never know what's going to pop up next.
I mean, I agree with that. Sorry, I was also trying to, at the same time while we're doing this, because we have so many lives coming tomorrow. We have our big 100K celebration live at 12 p.m. And then, of course, we are doing Real Housewives of Miami. Even though, guys, I did a pre-record. Jason was out of town, and we always cover Miami together. What time are we doing that? 11 a.m.?
11 a.m. tomorrow.
Yes, 11 a.m. So I did pin that in the live chat, but I do want to talk about this little excursion that we went on our trip to Zion. Now, in Zion, obviously, we know we were staying at the Red Rock Villas, and we did get to go on an excursion, and no, it wasn't swimming with dolphins. We're not in the Caribbean, guys. We're in Utah. We went ATVing. This looked a lot of fun, but this is not what, like, where I'm from, we don't call that ATVing. Like, we go... It's a 4-wheeler. You call that ATVing. Like, this is kind of rock climbing in I forgot what they're called. They're like dune buggies. Maybe I haven't.
I don't know, but they looked fun. This was a moment. It was kind of great because we've watched these ladies, like, again, this is conflict resolution. We watch them fight so much. It's nice to watch them get along. They have different conversations when they get along than when they're fighting, obviously. But I'm not sure. Now, Janelle in the live chat is saying, just bring back Angie Harrington. She's waiting in the wings and she's ready.
I don't think so.
What do you think? Because I feel like Janelle, she got her chance. I don't know if you could replace replace Jen or Mary with Angie Harrington.
No, she definitely no.
I don't know. I go back and forth on that sometimes.
You need a bit. First of all, if we lose both Mary and Jen, which right now, if Jen has not left the show, she's not quit the show, she's not been fired. As of right now, Jen is still on the show. So if she goes through her trial and everything goes the way that she is hoping it does, she will still continue to be on the show. Obviously, if it's the other way around, then of course it would be different circumstances. But as of right now, she's on the show. But if we lose her and Mary, these are major, major personalities. Like Jen Shah will pop off at the drop of like a pencil. And if she is passionate about it and you're talking about her family, or she feels like, this is something where you're really frustrating me, you're going to know. She's a big personality. And for Mary,
so is Mary. I mean, just Mary walking by Whitney and Meredith tonight going, yeah, that's too much. Like, I just lost it tonight.
Yeah,
like,
she has that quirkiness. It almost, and I'm not comparing the two at all, but like, how like sometimes you watch Real Housewives of New York and you get Ramona when she gives you like the eyes and she says like random stuff and like she just kind of goes about her business and you're like, what did she just say? Hold on, rewind, what? And you have to kind of like pick up on it. Sometimes like I get those same kind of quirky vibes from Mary, which at first I feel like I didn't totally appreciate. Again, getting back to it, now I'm kind of like, maybe we need this. But continuing on, Mary did not actually say no to this excursion. She went along for the ride. She was a team player. She went rock climbing. I thought it was crazy. I never need to do that. Heather admitted, or at least said or joked about potentially lying about her weight when it came to putting herself on the rope, which doesn't matter. She still made it down. The point is, we made it back home for club night. So all of the women are getting ready for club night. And I thought, in my mind, you guys are going to a real club. What the was that? What was that?
I don't know. And it didn't seem to last very long because we kind of, went to commercial and then it came back and we're already in the jacuzzi.
Right.
I mean, pool. So I guess it wasn't a hit. I don't know.
This isn't the best picture of them, but this is like Heather, I think the night before, the night after. I don't know what it was, but
that was when they got there.
They had club night. And while they were having club night, everybody was getting along, or at least it seemed that way. And then they ended up getting in the jacuzzi. They were partying it up. It seemed like a little bit of a lackluster club night, but that's fine. One thing that I wanted to address before we really got there, when they were scarfing food down, Mary actually said to Jenny across from the table, guys, 450 in the room, smash that like button. Mary apologizes to Jenny for saying that at one point she doesn't matter. And Jenny admits that she has anger issues. And she said, I went to anger management for 10 years after breaking my husband's ribs.
I mean, we learned a lot here. We learned that Mary, and she said, it's not because of you, Jenny. Mary said, I'm not letting people into my life, like new people. She's not really available to that. So she's very cautious in how she moves forward. And then Jenny, in her confessional, was admitting that she has, anger issues. But when she said the ribs, I was like, I was just, my mouth dropped.
I mean, to be fair, I do want to say Bronwyn, when she admitted that she was going through her sobriety journey and that she ended up putting her hands on Sean and hitting him, she got a lot of shit for it. So to say that you were so angry at one point that you picked up something and threw it hard enough to break your husband's ribs, and you're sharing that on national television,
yikes.
That is a pretty, yes.
Listen,
there are some layers to Jenny, obviously.
And that doesn't help.
Problems, that's abuse.
That doesn't help her case right now with all of those posts she's been, that are resurfacing. It doesn't make her look any better.
I mean, and it seems like, there's always interesting timing with like the way the world works. Like if you post something like that, if at one point that's how you feel, you're putting it on the internet, it's going to resurface. But timing is just insane. Like the idea of that coming out at the same time in the same week of the episode that airs, that you say specifically you have anger issues and that you broke your husband's ribs. Like people are going to flip their shit after this episode comes out. And it's already out. People are going to be recapping it all night. There are going to be headlines. Mark my words, tomorrow morning. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jenny Nguyen assaulted husband and broke his ribs after anger outlash. Something like that. It's going to be something, and people are going to run with it. And it's just going to be another thing on her plate. Like she's walking through a buffet right now and they're putting stuff on her plate where, mind you, she's the one who did the post. So she's getting her own shit back on her plate. It's piling. And eventually that plate's going to break. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know. Still, I know we've already talked about this, but I don't know where the reaction from anyone is right now. I know Jenny gave a kind of a half-ass apology on social media. We still haven't seen anything from Bravo. Andy hasn't even. I just don't know what's going on. Salt Lake is just so crazy for me right now.
Right. I mean, that's probably the best. That's
crazy.
That's the best way you could put it. That's the best way you could put it. All right. So getting back to it, we do have Lisa Barlow. And funny enough, Lisa Barlow, we wake up and everybody's in their room. Jen Shah's in the same bed as Whitney Rose. Lisa's in the same bed as Meredith. It's like, what the hell happened last night? But everybody ended up getting along until they didn't. We start getting into the preview for next week's episode. And guys, again, I will go ahead and drop the link so you guys can call in if you would like. We're going to cap this off tonight at 45 minutes to an hour. We're only 30 minutes in, so we'll definitely take callers. But at the end of the night, we see where Lisa Barlow ends up screaming when she wanted to walk away. And she says, Meredith can go herself. I fucking hate her. She's a whore. She half of New York.
Wasn't that in the preview for next week?
Yes, that's the preview for next week.
That's insane. But you watched her tonight and watch what happens live. You know, Andy questioned her on this, and she says she regrets her poor choice of words.
I mean, you can't not say that you regret that.
This is the second person who's talked about like 10 boyfriends. Jen Shah mentioned it at the dinner table. And then now we have Lisa like following up like with the same kind of accusation. We've heard, you know,
but that's exactly
Whitney
what it
has
is.
Heard rumors about this. I know, but yeah, correct. But why are they all repeating like the same amount of like?
I mean, but also right now, what credibility do we have within this group when you're going to say that Meredith was the one who called the FBI? Like, what credibility do we have? Because at this point,
this is true.
And then you're saying that her father had a fake memorial. Like at this point, we're reaching. So it's almost like it's like the boy who cried wolf. You can't say so many outlandish things and like give us 2, 3, 4 times of it, and then give us one truth and expect everybody to automatically go with that.
Also, we saw in the bus when, you know, Jenny brought up, was she actually at a memorial? And then Lisa said it was like, talked to her, you know, this morning. This is what she said in the bus. And she was somewhere. But Lisa didn't say she was actually at the memorial. Lisa held back from saying that, which was kind of like,
So where is she?
But then we see in the preview for next week where Heather and Lisa are talking about where, you know, she's lying to one of us because Meredith told Heather the memorial was on Monday and Lisa on Tuesday or something like that. So it's kind of fishy to me. It almost seems like they're making up, stories here.
See, and I'm going to defend that real quick because even when I was in Salt Lake and trying to bounce around and stuff, like I had to, you know, at one point I remember I was texting one of our friends who we talked to on here. Her name's Sammy, but she lives in Salt Lake. And I was texting her and she was like, you know, is your interview today? But I was getting ready for the interview. And I had other things going on that I was like, yeah, I'm preparing like my interviews today. And then I have stuff to do tomorrow, even though it was tomorrow, but I wasn't lying about it. I was just like, no, I still have to get like, yes, in my mind, it's still the interview. So for Meredith, is it possible that she's saying Monday and Tuesday and there's preparations on Monday, meeting up with family, you know, hey mom, are you okay? Sitting around and talking about like the moments that you had. And then the next day actually having the memorial, like it could be a 2-day thing. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I mean, they're very interested in this memorial, but no one's really interested in, like, I know they can't ask Jen a lot of questions, but like, we're not diving into that or staying really, you know, on, hey, what just happened? I felt like I moved really quick.
You're not on a
no, but no one's really questioning this, you know, alleged crime she committed and really going there with her.
Right.
So all right. It's pick and choose with this group.
So, and at the beginning, what did you say that you would rate this episode?
A 9.
A 9. All right, guys, in the live chat, also rate the episode. I think I would give this one a 7.
A 7?
Yeah, a 7.
How much more like craziness could we have gotten? I've seen
last week's episode was so good that was like my 9-10. So this one I have to give a 7-8. Norma Maldonado, before I start bringing up callers, 500 people in the room almost, guys. Hey. Bravo seems to normalize bad behavior. Letting them continue to have a platform condones the behavior. TV villains should be in scripted TV, not reality. And then we have Laura Hartman, 7.58, 8, 8, 9, 7, 8, 8, 6. It's closer to me, I think. No, maybe we're in the middle. 0.
Listen, do you think though? I mean, from what we're seeing from Peacock, like with Real Housewives, right? I just feel like it's a little more cotton candy because I was rewatching Miami tonight because we're going to go live tomorrow. And I laughed the first time I watched it. I laughed the second time. It was just so much like cotton candy drama, like we call it. And it's just different. It's more fun to watch. The Ultimate Girls Trip was great to watch. A lot of fun. Again, cotton candy drama. On Bravo, though, it seems to be.
Oh, here we go.
We just go like really deep. Whether it's with Housewives, with Erica, with Jen Shah, with God, what's happening on the show? You don't see what's happening on these shows and other franchises. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Currently with the whole Below Deck situation, but they also have Below Deck Down Under premiering with this Friday or Thursday, I believe.
I can't keep up with Below Deck.
But I wonder how they're going to do it differently on Peacock, because it seems like Peacock is a lighter version of the stuff we're seeing on Bravo.
Yeah, but that's not always a bad thing. I mean,
it's a good thing, because I miss that. Like I feel like I get anxiety watching these ladies sometimes. I'm like, I can't keep up.
Hold on, let's see. April said, not you, Adam, but YouTube also allows a platform for behavior that some would take as unacceptable. I mean, honestly, I think whatever platform you go on, I think people exhibit in everyday life. Like you might work as a mailman, or you might work in a hospital, and you might have a coworker that exhibits bad behavior. And until they get told not to, and then get that warning and end up getting fired or taken off of a platform, that's kind of what you deal with. Eventually, I feel like different companies and platforms and businesses will see when someone kind of adds that toxicity to that environment, and they will eventually weed them out. That's how it works. But
yeah,
with that, what do I know? I'm not HR, guys. So let's go ahead and bring up our first caller, Laura Hartman. Hi, Laura.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. I'm so happy to talk to you guys. I just have a couple notes. Like, first off, Meredith looked like a bird owned by Dracula in that dress.
But I do have to say, out of all of the feather outfits we have seen her in this season, this was by far my favorite, because the purple thing didn't work, and then like the reunion thing, not feeling. But this one was like, okay, I'm like, that's better. That's better.
Yeah. Meredith has some questionable taste. But I'm like convinced that Bravo doesn't vet their newbies. Or they do, and they see the terrible stuff and they let them on. So when people find out, there's all this outrage and people hate watch, and it will boost the ratings. Like, that's what I'm convinced, because I feel like every person who comes on the show now is so problematic. And
it's almost like a modern day clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. It's so like, and the fact too, like, that Andy doesn't say anything, and just, it's really weird how they pick and choose like who they're gonna save and who they're not, because it's like they did the right thing firing like Kelly Dodd, Leanne Locken, and if they get rid of Jenny, I support that, but it's like we need to hold the same energy for Ramona. Like, Ramona has done some awful things that we've seen, and it's just really frustrating to see Bravo like cover these people, and I just don't understand their mindset.
Laura, I really quickly just have to say, Bravo is very, very smart. We can't even put that past them. They know exactly what they're doing. They are so calculated and unpredictable that I have to agree with you. I know they do vet them, and they know what's going on. And I do agree that they're just gaining viewership and ratings through all of this scandalous material.
Well, but then on the other side too, like when I say a modern day clickbait, and this is all total speculation, like I don't know, I don't sit with the suit and ties at Bravo and decide what gets aired and what doesn't and who we hire. But, at the end of the day, like I think about it and I'm like, if you do have somebody with a scandal tied to them, like, mind you, they could not have predicted the Girardi thing, but could they have? Because Tom Girardi was allegedly representing someone who was suing NBC and then eventually dropped out of that lawsuit, and then Erica got hired. So, but then, pan over to Teresa, and she's showing on camera that she is buying a ton of stuff with cash. Okay, but do you know that's going to happen? Do you know Apollo's going to go to jail? Do you know that this situation is going to happen with Jen Shah? But finding out that there was a court date and stuff that surfaced years and years ago, do you remember, Jason? Jason and I, when it was like 8 or 9 years ago, but we got a job at Barney's, like just trying to get through while we were in New York, trying to figure out, do we move again? Where are we going? And we got a job at Barney's, and I was in the restaurant, and the vetting process was like 2 weeks. It was my finding out if I've ever been arrested. Have I had a parking ticket? Have I ever gotten written up? Like, it was a big deal. The whole vetting process was really annoying, but I understand it. So I would only imagine if you're putting somebody on a major public platform that you would have a very extensive vetting process as well.
100%.
Yeah. And one
Laura,
other
what
thing
would
I
you
just
give
wanna
this
point out,
episode?
I liked it. I gave it a 7.5 or an 8.
Okay. All right.
I think, yeah, for me, it's like, can we just drop, like, who cares if Meredith did or didn't go to her dad's memorial service? Like, she just didn't want to be with the women. I don't think it had to do with her calling the feds. I think she just didn't want to be there. And I think her actions have made it clear. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a car for 5 hours with some of these women.
Right.
Like, so just say, because, like, at least Mary's like, I just didn't want to go with you. Like,
Yeah.
why, like, that's, and if Jen's, like, obviously, like you guys have been saying, with Jen, there's like, the feds have been watching her for years. So even if Meredith did call, like, Jen was going to get caught. I think in Jen's mind, she's so delusional that she thinks like nothing's going to happen to her. But I don't understand why, like, Whitney and Heather are so, and I love Whitney and Heather. I don't know why they're so, like, pushing Meredith and so loyal to Jen. Because it's like, you can be a good friend, but you can still be like, this looks really bad. And
Right.
I think that's been really frustrating for me too, because yeah, it makes good TV, but it's also just like, if to me, it's now not entertainment. It's me just being like, I don't want to watch this because you're being so stupid.
Right.
I think we also have to remember too, because a lot of people forget this, and you know, like the women, we see their like these kind of small tidbits of their life, but then they are playing like over the top caricatures of themselves, like in what everyday life would be like. So now we're getting like this like very animated version of that. And I don't think that we necessarily see everything. I feel like we get what makes the most sense to continue the storyline where it feels like seamless for the viewer. So if it makes sense right now that Jen's not getting along with everyone, but all of a sudden she makes up with Heather and Whitney, we don't need to show that she made up with Heather and Whitney, because right now everyone's mad at Jen. So we're going to keep it that way. Like, I feel like they're very strategic in how they paint the narrative.
Yeah, totally. And I think one more thing I just noticed about any of the franchises is that if you come on the show as best friends, you were not going to stay best friends. Like Lisa and Kyle, Lisa and Meredith, Bethany and Jill, like Nene and Kim.
Lisa
like
and Denise.
Yeah, like it's just so funny how, like, you can just tell, like, you know, something's going to happen between them because they know so much about each other that they like use it against each other like every time.
Yeah,
I agree.
Really funny.
I agree with that.
I agree. Laura, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate you, and we hope to have you back next time.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
All right. So we're going to start bringing up some more callers. We have about 10, 15 minutes left. I do want to kind of, because we have 9 people in the room now. We're going to bring up, and I'm going to ask you each a question, and then Jason, if you have anything to add to it, then you can ask the question too, or another question, and then we will move on and rotate callers and end off our live. Guys, 500 people in the room. Don't forget to smash that like button. Let's bring up our next caller, Janelle. And my question is, do you think after Lisa saying Meredith can go herself, I fucking hate her, she's a WHO and I will not spell the rest of it, and that she half of New York on national television, will Meredith forgive her and get to a place now that her kids have seen it, her husband's seen it, she's seen it, her colleagues have seen it, everyone knows that it's coming out, they're going to judge her, they're going to talk about it. Is there any chance that she will ever trust Lisa enough again to be friends with her? Janelle, your turn.
Meredith has officially disengaged.
I mean, how could you not?
Listen. First off, a bitch is tired. I worked out today, and I'm like, I asked myself why. So, but let me tell you, that shit is not going to fly with Miss Meredith. Miss Meredith is going to be like, nope, our friendship is a wrap. I mean, hello. Now, I don't know if this is like the producers or this is Meredith or a combination of two, but like, how long have we heard Meredith go like, she said things about my son? Like, we're tired. We get it. Jen said some terrible crap about your son. None of it was kosher. None of it was cool. However, that cannot be your entire storyline for the entire year because I'm exhausted. Okay.
I wonder though if she's thinking about it like not as a storyline, but she's honestly like, you know how you get the
What did
New
she tell
Jersey
you during that dinner? I want to know.
What?
What did she tell you during that dinner?
Nothing. But you know, I wonder in my head like if she kind of comes off to me like an old school Jersey housewife or like a mob wife in the sense that it's like family over everyone. Like you don't go against the family. And if you
Right.
talk about them, I don't give a shit about a storyline. I don't care about these cameras. You better make it right. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting.
I do not think Meredith, and I'll say this. I think they will find a way to get along in the future because I do think Seth and John have a genuine friendship because they've known each other for so long.
They're the only husbands who have one.
Yeah, I think they're the only husbands who have a genuine friendship because no one else, I believe. Because everyone goes like, oh my God, like the husbands, they're great together. Stop it! Lion!
No, I'm against this the push for the Salt Lake City husbands to be friends. Like I just don't buy it. Every time they're together, it's either awkward or I'm like looking at my watch like,
right,
please, like.
Or when the adults like, remember the scene they were in the bar and they're looking off and the producers basically told them, look off into the distance and then we'll show like B-roll of your wives acting crazy. I just don't think I don't think Meredith and Lisa are going. I think they're going to find a way to have some type of relationship because they do work together. But I do not, because this is what I think is going to happen. Meredith is like, no, Lisa's not my friend. And then did you see Meredith's updated statement about Jenny? What did she refer to Jenny as? Her coworker, not her friend, not her acquaintance, her coworker. And who brought Jenny onto the show? Lisa. And you know, Meredith's probably going, you brought her onto the show. You're the one who have now that our show is now associated with racism.
Do you think, really quick, Janelle, I am curious because, you know, Mary did make her stance known that like she wasn't fired and she didn't technically quit. Do you think halfway through the season, same way that they were able to convince Kathy Hilton to come back, that they will be able to get Mary's attention and give her what she needs to feel comfortable coming back to this platform? Or do you think it's a wrap?
No, I think she's going to come back, and the one reason is for money. They do not pay her enough. They know that she's going to be the center focus of the storyline for the next 2 seasons. And she wants to get paid for that work, essentially. So I think
first of all, I don't want to get paid for my work, but I want some recognition if you're going to spout my shit out on Watch What Happens Live.
Right. She wants, I mean, when that figure came out of how much they get paid, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't show up to the reunion either. Because, like, you're not going to pay me $100,000, and you're literally about to, you put my marriage on blast, you put my church on blast, even though I still think it's a cult a little allegedly, but that's just between you and me. And you're not going to put my entire life on blast. You're not going to have all my relatives come out the woodwork talking all this stuff about me, and you're only going to pay me $150,000. No, honey, you better pay me some Erica Jane money. Well, maybe not that much, but close to it. Okay. Well, at least up my pay to $250. Like, damn, like Glam is $20,000 alone. So yeah, Adam, you would be a good guest on Watch What Happens Live.
Hey, thanks. I don't know why they're sleeping on me. Call me, guys. I'll take a flight.
Listen, I think you and Jason should definitely be bartenders. And then actually be able to ask questions and not just stand there awkwardly like most bartenders do.
That's such a weird position. Like, you see when it's like a fun like person, like one of the Bachelor guys or whatever, they let them talk more. But when it's like the baker, I felt sorry for like the baker guy tonight. He's like, "Here are my cakes."
Now, if it was me, now if Andy wants to call me, like, "Yo, Janelle, you want to be a bartender?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I'm talking shit now, but I totally say yes to that phone call in a heartbeat.
I mean, it is true though. Like when they have something more to promote, like Dave Quinn promoting Not All Diamonds and Rosé when he was bartending, Andy would stop the questions with like the main talent that was on the floor with him and be like, all right, Dave, so in the book, like what was the most exciting housewife or conversation, you know, and ask questions and engage more. But it was also promoting a book that makes the network.
Yeah,
money.
it's not like, here are my cakes. And he's like, so when you see this word on the drinking game, and he just like moves on really quickly, you're like, this is just a filler.
The only time I saw him like actually enjoy the baked goods is that lady who makes the cakes where you cut it open and the candy falls out.
Oh.
Her bakery's in the Lower East Side. I have not had the cake myself, but I have friends who have had her cakes, and they said they are amazing.
Do you know, by the way, before we end up taking the next caller, real quick, guys, smash the like button. And 2, I had a nothing bundt cake, and I've never had one before. Have you had one?
No, what'd that be?
That shit's really good.
A nothing bundt cake, Janelle, you have to try. I hate cake. I'm
a happy fat girl who loves to eat.
Oh, no.
Like, hello.
You're going to love the nothing bundt cake. I'm telling you, it is so good. The red velvet one.
Is it at Publix?
No, you have to go to a nothing bundt cake.
Yeah, it's like a nothing bundt cake store. They will have it in New York somewhere.
They have to have it in New York. I feel like that's where they're from.
NDT cakes. They will have them somewhere. It's moist. It like melts in your mouth. It's like I've never had anything like it before. I'm telling you, Janelle, I hate sweets. So good.
Oh my gosh. I went to Orange Theory today and I shouldn't have sweets.
Well, you're not having bundt cake in front of you, so it's just for the future. I'm just
I have a freaking banana in front of me because I need potassium.
Oh god.
That's what I need. I need potassium so I don't get leg cramps. They worked my ass tonight in that Orange Theory gym. See?
Oh shit. All right. Well, Janelle, we appreciate you.
I'm not a pretty eater, but I give this episode 8.7. I thought it was good. And listen, I cannot wait for the showdown that's going to be Lisa and Meredith at the reunion.
Oh, it's going to be. I still wish Mary was there, but that's fine.
We have many reasons to watch the reunion, but we're just still not going to get any answers from the reunion. It's kind of like, when we wanted all of these answers from Erica Jane, I feel like everything that has happened off the show, we want answers to, and they've already done the reunion, so I don't feel like we're going to get those answers. But now watching the show, like you said, Janelle, the Lisa and Meredith situation, now I want to watch the reunion.
And then maybe that will be the lead storyline next season if Mary does not come back. Also, it's like some people were saying in the chat earlier that like the comments that Jenny made is that's how people used to talk for a very long time. Listen, I'm a child of the South. I understand that's how people used to talk. Like my classmates used to talk like that. But we're in 2022 now. And when she made those comments, it was America has never seen something so what's the word I'm trying to say? It has never seen such the animosity that was happening in the country at the time has not been seen in a very long time. So I understand that people used to say that, but like we're supposedly matured as a country and we shouldn't be saying stuff. And then Kempire had said in one of his videos that he was triggered by the comments. So we have to take into account that these things do offend people. So it was maybe, cool if it's not cool, but like, they said that 20 years ago, but that was 20 years ago when certain things were allowed. It's not allowed now. And I really wish that Bravo and Andy would say something like, we're doing an investigation, or we're looking into it, or we are talking to Jenny and the rest of the cast. Like, give us something to know that you guys are not just here taking these ad dollars and just giving us TV. Like, we love to like fall in love with these housewives and watch them and stuff like that. It's fun, but it's like when they say stuff that affect us emotionally, then it's like, okay, what are we doing? And also, you cannot have a BLM 2-part episode series in 2020 and produced by Candy and talk about this stuff, and then you're like, I don't know. Like, you guys say something. And if you're going to keep her and own it. Like Rena says. Own it. Own it.
Own it. Yeah.
Own it as I eat my banana.
I agree with you.
My soapbox, bitches.
All right, Janelle, well, you go enjoy your potassium, and thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. And please, if you're around tomorrow, guys, by the way, we won't be doing Wake Up and Adam tomorrow because we are getting ready to go out of town again. And we are doing a 12 p.m. celebration with DJ Richie Sky, Dana Wilkie, Zach Peter, Jason, and Emily D. Baker.
How could you forget Emily?
Adam, because I remember watching your videos and you used to be yelling at people. Why are people not like smashing the like button? And I remember one time I was watching a video like, it's so annoying because I see how many people watch my videos, but they are not subscribing. I was like, okay, fine, I'll subscribe. Shit, you keep saying it every single video. Fine, I'll subscribe. Damn.
Hey, see? And then people get mad at me, but look, it works. Thank you,
It
So are you saying that Adam forced you into subscribing?
No, she did not say that.
Just
She did not say that.
You know what? Me and Jason could be messy, okay? Adam?
Yeah, messy as hell.
So me and Jason could be messy.
I'm going to send Jason's ass to New York. He can go bartend WWHL and then introduce.
Hey, we'll be there soon enough.
Listen, and you be jealous that you weren't bartending with them. And shoot, have me as a guest so I can sit in the Oprah seat. Okay?
All right, Janelle, we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye, boo.
Bye. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Guys, we are almost at the hour. And we do have to wake up super early in the morning. I know that we have a bunch of other callers in, but we were trying to keep it closer to an hour because it is 11:30 here in Florida, and we have a 6 a.m. wake up. So, and you have to walk the dogs.
I've walked the dogs, friend. Sometimes you are so busy.
Walking the dogs at 6 o'clock and walking the dogs at 11 is two totally different things. 6 o'clock is not
walked,
the rest
friend.
of the night.
They were walked. When you were watching Watch What Happens Live, I had it on my phone, and I took the dogs out. Where were you?
Watch What Happens Live.
Okay.
They were busy
This is why you need to watch Adam, because he's so focused on the shows that he doesn't know what's happening around him.
I feel like you didn't watch. I'll check the ring. Anyways, I was busy watching my interview be referenced but not mentioned. So I was busy. Okay. All right.
Adam's like, he's mentioning my interview.
That was literally me, guys.
Yeah, that was you.
All right. Well, with that, guys, we do have almost 500 people in the room. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you for recapping Salt Lake City with us tonight. We have a lot of big stuff coming out this next week, week and a half. And if you guys
big news next week, guys. Big news.
Well, she's already dropped it. So if you guys follow her,
bigger news.
A major platform.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh.
I'm talking about bigger news.
Yes.
That's also dropping. So I'm excited.
We have a reveal on Monday, a big announcement on Tuesday, and also a big collab on Tuesday. And they're all three different things. So it's going to be super exciting. We're flying out of town, but we will be with you guys the rest of the week. And thank you guys so much for 100,000 subscribers. Tomorrow we will be back at 12 p.m. Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll be back with DJ Richie Sky, Zach Peter, Dana Wilkie, $25,000 sunglasses, Emily D. Baker, and both Jason and I to not only celebrate 100K and all of the stuff that the Addams family here has been through to get there, but talk about some of our favorite Bravo scandals because that's what we do best. And of course, before that, guys, to kind of kick off our morning, because we're not doing Wake Up and Adam, we will, instead of 9:30, be back at 11 a.m. Eastern, which I will post on my community tab. Jason's already posted it on his, on Down with Jason. We will be recapping Real Housewives of Miami. There's so much in my head right now, but I will keep it together. I will keep it together. Jason, before we go, do you want to say anything?
Nope. Just have a good night, and thank you for joining us. It's been a fun Sunday night.
Yeah, it has been a fun Sunday night. And guys, thank you to our super chats, super stickers. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to our callers. And if we didn't make it to you, you guys know that I still love you guys down there. And I promise tomorrow, when we are taking more callers and we're not on more of a time crunch, we will bring everyone up. Jason got in so late last night. I had him up at 6 a.m. this morning, and then we did it again today. So we're just going to go catch up on some sleep. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.
Bye,
Happy
everyone.
100K. We did it. Bye, guys. Bye.